Hi, today we're going to make a delightful seeded bread called Polka Dot Bread. It strikes the perfect balance between hearty and fluffy. It slices easily and is very appealing. Polka Dot Bread makes excellent toast and is a superb base for your favorite sandwich. We're going to use the Ankarsrum Assistant mixer, and you'll enjoy seeing the dough come together in this beautiful Swedish super mixer. Welcome to Chocolate Box Cottage, the sweet spot between old-fashioned skills and modern convenience. I'm Michelle, and I'm here to help you create your slice of country living wherever you live. If that sounds appealing to you, I invite you to click the subscribe button. Now, let me tell you the story behind Polka Dot Bread. When I was growing up, my German grandparents always brought food when they came to visit my parents' small farm in Oregon. Home canned tomatoes and soups, sauerkraut, pickles, ethnic German from Russia baked goods like Kichla and Kuchen, as well as American goodies like chocolate chip cookies. They also made a stop at the German butcher shop before they left their hometown to come visit us, and they would pick up the most delicious German sausage and a loaf or two of polka dot bread. My siblings and I loved polka dot bread because it had all these little poppy seeds in it, and we would drop slices in the toaster and eat it warm, and we just loved the way all the little seeds would pop in our teeth. Well, I don't have the recipe, the original recipe from the deli, but I was able to recreate it from memory, and don't tell, I think mine is better. You can use any proportion of whole grain flour or white flour that you like, or all of one or the other. You can use spelt, kamut khorasan, bread flour, all-purpose flour. They all work really well. Today we're going to use 1/3 whole wheat flour, freshly ground in my grain mill, and 2/3 bread flour. I haven't personally tried einkorn, but my friend Callie did last week. She used a portion of it in her polka dot bread, and it turned out wonderful. If you do want to use einkorn, I recommend starting with 1/3 einkorn and then the balance in either all-purpose or bread flour or traditional whole wheat until you get a feel for einkorn. You can find today's recipe at my website, chocolateboxcottage.tv. It is available in both US standard and metric measurements. Let's take a look at the ingredients. You'll need 1/4 cup each poppy seeds, raw unsalted sunflower kernels, chopped nuts, we're using hazelnuts today, whole millet seeds, and flax seeds. Now, if you don't have all of these nuts and seeds, don't worry, you can make up the difference with what you have in your cupboard. You'll need 1 cup of lukewarm water, a tablespoon of yeast, an egg, 1 cup of milk, 1/4 cup each olive oil, honey, and molasses, 2 cups of whole wheat flour. I'm using flour that's freshly ground in my grain mill, 4 cups of white flour, and you'll also need a spray bottle of clean water and some softened butter. Preheat the oven to 350 Fahrenheit or 175 Celsius. Measure the yeast and add lukewarm water. Stir with a fork to dissolve completely. Measure the poppy seeds, sunflower seeds, millet, and nuts into a baking dish. Not the flax, we'll add those later. Put these in the oven and let them toast until fragrant, about 10 to 12 minutes. Meanwhile, start measuring the liquid ingredients into the mixer bowl. First the egg and the milk, and then mix on low speed, about 2 o'clock. If you are a new Ankarsrum mixer owner, or if you are exploring the idea of purchasing this mixer, I would like to share some information with you about how to use the dial controls. It is in another video, and I'll link that video below for you. Add the yeast mixture. Then the fat and sweeteners. Normally we know we're supposed to use dry measuring cups for dry ingredients and liquid measuring cups for liquid ingredients, but precision's not important in this recipe. So you can use this little trick of measuring the olive oil first and then measure the sticky liquid ingredients into the same measuring cup. They'll slide right out. Mix the liquid ingredients at low speed, 2 o'clock, until smooth. Then you can begin adding the flour. We'll add the whole grain flour first, and you can pour in this first 2 cups all at once. And the salt. Use the arm on the machine to help incorporate the flour. Now we're going to begin adding the white flour. We'll start adding a cup at a time, sprinkling it in gradually. And the mixer is doing a beautiful job of incorporating it. Now that we're getting some thickness to our dough, we'll set the arm. Move it about an inch away from the side of the bowl and then use the knob on the back to set the distance. We still have a little bit of flour left to add, but we're going to be cautious. We need to keep the dough sticky so that we can add our nuts and seeds. So I'm just going to sprinkle it in a bit at a time and watch the dough develop. You should see a nice donut shape forming inside the bowl. And you never have to reach in with a spatula. You can use the arm of the bowl like you see me doing here to bring ingredients over to the roller and scraper. Go ahead and stop the dough, and yes, it feels very, very sticky, which is what we want at this stage because we need to add our cooled nuts and seeds. We'll turn the machine back on and decrease it to 1 o'clock, which is very low speed, and start adding the nuts and seeds to the bowl. They smell so delicious. They're just lightly toasted, golden brown, and they're going to add that characteristic crunch to our polka dot bread. Turn it up slightly to about 2 o'clock. And we'll let the mixer work on incorporating the nuts and seeds. This dough is still very sticky, and I'm going to add sprinkles of flour very cautiously just to finish bringing that together. Perhaps you can see how the dough is smoothing out. We have a nice smooth donut inside the bowl. A little bit more. And now we're ready to let the machine do the kneading. Now with this machine, you don't switch to a dough hook. We have the roller and scraper in place, and these function like a pair of hands in the bowl. So they're going to do the heavy work of kneading for us. We'll set the timer for 8 minutes, and we'll see how it shapes up. We're not even close to capacity with a 2-loaf batch in the Ankarsrum. You can easily make 4 large loaves, 9 by 5 inch, which is 23 by 13 centimeter, or 6 8 by 4 inch loaves. And the printable recipe makes doubling the ingredients easy. Just click the ×2 button on the recipe and it automatically scales the recipe for you. Remember, the recipe is available at my website, chocolateboxcottage.tv. With the open bowl design, you can reach in safely and touch the dough to see how it feels. It's a little sticky, not too bad though, so I'm not going to add any flour. I'm going to let it continue to knead. Don't forget the flax seeds. Let's check to see how the dough has developed. Just reach right in the bowl and touch it. It should feel tacky like the sticky side of a Post-it note. But it shouldn't leave any residue of dough sticking to your fingers. Our dough looks good. Turn the knob to release the arm of the machine and then pull up on this pin to release the roller. The mixer comes with a handy tool that has a groove in it that makes it very easy to scrape out the notches on the roller. Then remove the scraper as well. Spread about a tablespoon of olive oil on a clean work surface. This tool helps release the dough from the bottom of the bowl. We have a nice mass of dough here, and I always like to give any bread dough that's machine kneaded a few turns by hand. So give it a quarter turn and press down, and this helps build the structure in your bread dough and brings it into a beautiful, beautiful piece of dough. There we go. Now at this point, I would normally let the dough rest a few minutes and then do the window pane test to check gluten development. But the window pane test does not work well with polka dot bread due to all the nuts and seeds in it. So instead, we're just relying on the way the dough feels. It should feel bouncy and it should hold its shape nicely, which it does. So I have a well-buttered mixing bowl here that's 4 to 5 quarts in size. And the top of my dough is nicely greased. I'm going to put the smooth side up, settle it in the bowl, and cover it with a clean, lint-free kitchen towel. We're going to let this rise until it is doubled. It may take an hour to an hour and a half. Here's our dough a little later. Looks nice and puffy. To check if our dough is done rising, we can use the poke test. So take 2 fingers and press them gently into the dough and then quickly let go. If the indentations remain, like we see right here, that means the dough is done rising and we're ready to move on to shaping. If the indentations quickly close up, that means your dough needs a little bit more time. Cover it up and come back and check it in another 10 to 15 minutes. If the dough collapses when you do the poke test, it means you let it rise too long. So make a note next time to let it rise for a shorter amount of time. You can still go ahead and shape the dough, but just give it a shorter rise next time. Let's turn the dough out onto our oiled surface, and the smooth side of the dough that was on top in the bowl is now on the bottom, touching the table. It's good to keep in mind where the smooth side of the dough is at all times so that you can plan to have that be the top of your loaves. So with greased palms of my hands, I am going to flatten the dough instead of punching it down, which can tear the dough. Then use a dough card or a bench knife or a chef's knife to divide the dough evenly in half. I am making 2 large loaves with 9 by 5 inch pans. If you have 8 by 4 inch pans, you can divide this into 3. And you can eyeball it and call it good, or you can use a scale to make sure that they're even. Now to shape our loaves, we'll work with one piece of dough at a time, pat it out into a rectangle, fold it in thirds like a letter, and then pat it out again into a rectangle. You can use your bread pan as a guide to make sure that the dough you're shaping is going to fit into your pan. Now roll it up like a cinnamon roll and place the seam on the bottom. Scoot the loaf on your surface to tighten it up and seal that seam, and then tuck in the ends. There we go. And I brought you in a little closer for the second loaf. Again, we're going to pat it out into a rectangle, fold it in thirds, pat it out a second time into a rectangle, roll it up, seam on the bottom, tuck the ends in, and we have both loaves shaped. Cover them up with your clean towel and let them have a second rise. The loaves should curve up just nicely over the tops of the pans when they're ready to bake. Let's take a peek under the towel. Oh, they look beautiful. The loaves are nicely risen. See how the dough curves up over the edge of the pan? If you're unsure if they're ready to bake, you can do the touch test. Just touch a loaf with a finger and let go. And if a slight indentation, just a fingerprint remains, then you know that your bread is ready to bake. And these are ready. All that we need to do is spray them with clean water and then get them over into the oven. Here they go. Bake at 375 Fahrenheit or 190 Celsius until they're done. Let's take a peek in the oven and see how our bread looks. Ooh, it looks very pretty. It's been about 25 minutes. This generally takes between 25 to 30 minutes, but rather than worrying too much about the clock, take a look at the bread itself. The top crust should be deeply browned, and it should be nicely browned on all surfaces. Should have a nice hollow sound, and it's a good idea to check both loaves to make sure that they're both evenly baked. And this one looks fantastic also. You can use a digital food thermometer. I really like this Thermopop thermometer from ThermoWorks. And enriched breads like this are done at about 190 Fahrenheit or 82 to 88 Celsius. Let's get these over on a cooling rack. You'll be very pleased at how your bread turns out. This is such a nice bread. It's got this lovely soft texture, and it's also substantial enough to hold up to sandwiches. Makes superb toast, makes every sandwich taste better. Now I'd like to show you a favorite sandwich in our house. It's called King of Hearts. Start with a slice of your good homemade polka dot bread and spread some softened cream cheese on it. Softened is the operative word here. I should have left this to soften just a little longer. Next, add a little Dijon mustard. And let's start piling on the goodies. We'll start with the meat. We've got some smoked turkey here. And now for the flavor component, oregano. Oregano leaves go so well with turkey. Fresh cracked pepper. And some veggies. We have some tomato. Marinated artichoke hearts. Delicious. Add a few of these to your sandwich. And if you like, you can drizzle on a little bit of that marinade. It adds even more flavor. If you're using canned artichoke hearts instead of marinated ones, drizzle on some red wine vinegar. Then of course, some lettuce or some type of greens. This is fresh red lettuce from our garden. I do have a video on how to grow your own fresh salad greens in the house year-round that I will link in the comments for you. King of Hearts is what it's called. And with a sandwich that's good, you need a beverage that's really, really good to match. How about kombucha? And not just any kombucha, but your own homemade kombucha. I'm sure you've seen these at the grocery store, high-priced fizzy tea beverages in glass bottles. They're expensive, aren't they? Have you ever wondered if you could make your own? The answer is yes. I'll link a class in the comments so you can learn how to make your own kombucha too. This one is flavored turmeric and peach, and it's going to be a fabulous companion for our sandwich. Well, thank you for joining me here today at Chocolate Box Cottage. I hope you enjoyed this bread recipe, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.